See, I'm gonna automatically look at that.
Don't look at that. Look up there.
Hey, welcome to the Dustin and Cassie show. I'm Ben, and this is Lauren.
And I'm Dustin, and that's Cassie.
What do you know?
So tonight we're doing a collaboration. This is actually the couple that inspired us to do the Dustin and Cassie show, and they were down here for Sukkot, and so they came here after Sukkot to hang out with us for the weekend. It's like, hey, let's do a show together. So if you haven't ever checked out the Ben and Lauren show on YouTube, you need to check out the Ben and Lauren show. What is the name of your channel?
No idea.
It's called Benjamin Turner.
I think it's just called Benjamin Turner.
So like mine's Dustin Wells, his is Benjamin Turner.
You got to type it in the.
I will try to remember. You have to remind me that after the show is done, I will put a link to your channel in the description. So I see one person's watching. It's not one of you on your phones, is it?
Nope.
Okay. So if you're watching, please sound off in the comments so we know that you're here.
Say hello.
Also, I'd like to say that this is the first show where we have like real, literal high-speed internet. Every other show previously, we've been doing everything from our phones, but now we have internet at our house. So I did a speed test before the show started, and we're supposed to have 1 gig internet speed, but I topped out at like 430 megs, which is still awesome. You know, that's
we had nothing before.
Right. So yes.
The things we get excited about.
There's one person watching and nobody saying anything.
That's all right.
That's okay.
So
we're gonna talk.
I feel like you're half on the screen, half off.
I'm okay.
You're kind of off the screen too.
There we go.
Oh, we get a squishing closer.
There we go.
time.
Yes. So, what do we want to talk about?
Camping.
Camping. Sukkot. So I'm wearing my Sukkot 2020 shirt. We did tie-dye shirts for those who wanted to. This is the first time I've ever tie-dyed anything, and I think I did a pretty good job with it.
Eli's shirt was still the best.
Ours were dirty. We put them away in the laundry. Unfortunately, we wore them all week. I didn't think about doing a show with them.
I didn't think about it either. And then I thought, well, earlier I was like, oh, I should put mine on because he has his on. And then I was like, well, I don't think they have theirs, so
No.
I didn't.
So Dustin gets to be the
He's
lone.
The loner.
Normally we say, well, it's Saturday night, it's quiet, our kids are sleeping, which you can tell tonight because
Right over.
Oh,
One just stirred.
She's alive.
we let them stay up late tonight, except Ben forgot.
Well,
We fed them sleepy time medicine.
yeah.
I just want to do a quick. Okay, yeah, it's checking the mic there. I see it popping up, so I want to make sure we're.
So
Let's catch this.
we're still Eastern Standard Time, so we're feeling a little late.
Yeah, it's like almost 10 o'clock for y'all.
We usually do it this late. We usually end up done at midnight or something.
Oh yeah, that's
Because
true.
we have to wait till we put all the kids to bed.
I'm surprised there's nobody on there. Everybody's probably like, "What are they doing? It's Saturday night, and they're on." There's nobody watching.
That's
There's
because,
one person watching, but they
You know
don't want to
why?
say anything in the comments.
You know why? Everyone else is crashed out sleeping off Sukkot.
Oh.
Gina and
Yeah.
Philip are going to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's still people.
Well, they're still camping.
They're still up on the mountain.
Oh, so they can't get any signal. So.
Yeah,
There you
not
go.
unless they move closer to the house.
Yeah, and Adam Raffler said unless Ben is on his phone, you're not going to get any.
Quick, make a comment.
Right? And I know Papa Pepper's not going to comment because he's on the road going somewhere, so he's not going to be able to watch.
This is just going to have to be seen later.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Previously on the Dustin and No. Okay, so let's talk about our week of Sukkot, I guess.
All right, day 1.
High day. We didn't do anything. We rested. No.
Day 2.
What was?
Day 2 was the shirts.
Oh yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, because we had
that's
it
when
for
we did
day 3 when we
And
did
it
the.
took all day.
It did take all day.
to
It took
get everybody's
way
shirts.
longer than I thought it was going to take.
Originally, I didn't want to do the tie dye shirts. I'd never tied anything before, and I was like, I don't have to tie dye my shirt.
And I said, Zach did it.
And I was like,
The
Okay.
power of competition.
That's right.
That's why Dallas Johnson did it, was because we said, I went over to him and I was like, how come you didn't tie dye your shirt? And he goes, well, because no, it's a girl thing. It's not. And I
No,
was like,
it's not a
Dustin
girl
did
thing.
it. And he goes,
Goes well with a
I
kilt.
hadn't met
Yeah.
Dallas before. I like Dallas.
Yeah.
yes.
So,
We did the tie dye. I'm trying to remember. It was kind of a blur. We've got so many days.
right.
Our kids came down with a cold by the 3rd day of Sukkot.
I think this is the first year for us that none of us came
did.
down sick.
You dodged the bullet.
Not yet. They still got to
Don't.
get past us.
I rebuke that. We are not going to get sick.
Okay, go ahead and rebuke it.
Rebuke
You guys are going to be well this year.
I did have the day that we went up to visit the Mutri of Sukkot. I did feel a little under the weather, but I think I was just physically drained from staying up late and whatever else, and then lack of caffeine and all that stuff that morning.
Lack of caffeine and excess of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a horrible drive.
It was. It was weavy windy up through there, and
everybody in my car got car sick.
We stayed home. We stayed at the campsite.
You're smart.
No, Ben wanted to go, but I realized on Friday when Elena had a cold, I said by Tuesday, all of our children are going to have a cold, and I do not think it's a good idea to put them in the car and drive for several hours and go to this big event. And Ben was picturing, we're going to go over for tacos at the Mutria's house. I'm saying,
little did I know.
No, I'm hearing there's like tables with selling things, and there's going to be 300 people, and it's at a park. And this is not going over for dinner at Steve and Angela's.
Right.
And that's how it was described to me.
Ben's like, oh, wait, we're going to like
a conference.
A Sukkot fair?
Yeah.
There was
Carnival.
a lot of people there.
So you rode up with the Williams family, and I drove up. I had to drive up by myself because that morning was the morning they were coming here to hook our internet up. So I had to be here. So I drove by myself. Mm-hmm. And you said everybody in your vehicle got sick?
Everybody in our car got sick.
I felt car sick. I felt car sick after I got up there.
What was it about the ride that caused all the car sick?
You're just up and down hills, weavy, windy, back and forth. And even though if you're going slow, it's still just...
Because I went slow because I was starting to feel sick driving. And so I slowed way down and we use oils. And so we were passing oils back and forth. And everybody's sniffing it and rubbing it on their belly. And then they're sniffing it some more.
Well, it worked. At least no one in your car threw up.
Yeah, nobody in our car. Somebody in Gina in her car and their truck she got sick. They went a different way on the way home. It was like probably an hour more.
So after you did all that, what was it like being at the Mutrias? Because we didn't the big.
There was a lot of people. So I put my table because I took seats, and so I had my table right by the door. So I could.
She keeps buying herself off camera. I'm trying to bring her back in.
I did it that way once. Once so that I was right by the door if I needed to go out because I get super claustrophobic with so many people. And two, because I was the first thing that they saw when they came in the door.
Well, I showed up. I was like, "Hey, you're right by the door. Awesome."
So it was fun. It was a little weird though. We had one family that came up to me and said, "Where's Dustin?" And I was like, "Oh, he's on his way. We had an appointment." And I didn't know who this guy was. And then he goes, "I watch your show all the time. How are you doing?" And I was like, I'm okay. It was really weird. And
it's
then
strange to become a celebrity.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
Well, it's something we know. It's a guy that I've talked to. He's been at two of the.
But I haven't.
Right.
I haven't.
He's been at the last two of the Woodson's conferences, and he has his own. He has a channel called Truth Hunter. But yeah, so
it was just
when she told me, I'm like, was it this? I went to his Facebook profile and took a screenshot. I'm like, was it this guy? She's like, yeah, it's that guy. I was like, I figured if anybody I knew that was up there, it would be him. It would be David.
It was just different. It was kind of like, oh, so I guess we're in this crowd now. and then I had another guy come and I was asking about seats, and I said, well, he wasn't sure if he wanted to buy some, and I said, well, I have a Facebook page and a website if you want to look at those. And he kind of went like this. He goes, "Are you seats by Cassie?"
Say that louder. They might not have heard that.
And so
he said, "Are you seats by Cassie?"
And so I kind of laughed and I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "I've been following you for a long time and I've been wanting to order stuff." And then he literally stayed right there most of the time.
You had a fan.
So, he watched me make a bunch of different seats and he ordered a bunch. So
wow.
Yeah.
And I showed up and I set up a chair behind her, and then when Zach started talking, I
went to sleep.
Fell asleep. I nodded off. I was listening. I had my eyes closed. I still was not feeling all that well. You know, I got did I get some coffee when I was there? No, I didn't go get coffee. I drank some water, but I still was feeling, under the weather and everything. And so I just kind of sat there, closed my eyes, listened to Zach speak. And I was hearing everything. And then at one point I went,
hate when that
Okay.
happens.
I'm awake now. But after that, I felt good. I felt rested. I was back to normal. So
Right, you needed a break.
What was Zach's talk on?
I
you
actually
have to talk about that one because
I liked Zach's talk a lot, and we talked about it afterwards. So his talk was about families and husbands and wives and just the dynamic of it, and how women have an intuition that men don't necessarily have, and they see things that men don't see. And one of the things that he talked about was like color blindness. He said men are more likely to be colorblind than women.
Like actually colorblind.
Like actually colorblind. And so he asked the crowd, he said, how many men in here are colorblind? And there was probably 6 or 7.
he said there were 7.
Yeah, that raised their hand. And he said, how many women? And there was that one woman that was colorblind. And he said that women have an extra something that that make it to where it's like impossible for them to have color blindness.
Something to do with
didn't
the
know
cones in
that.
their eyes, I think. Right?
Yeah.
So we have more cones and rods in our eyes
than what men do.
Huh.
Interesting.
And he said that
But wait a minute, if you just feel like a woman, then you aren't.
No.
That's how they work.
It doesn't work that way.
So, but he talked about how men should listen to their wives because they have an intuition. You know, they see things that you don't necessarily see.
It
And
is vice versa, though, because Ben's done that to me a few times. Where I remember he said, a friend of mine, a childhood friend, he said, he's doing something he shouldn't be doing. He's in trouble. And I'm like, no, that's just him.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
I wish I was wrong
later,
about
we
that.
come to find out he was in really deep trouble.
Yeah.
Like really super deep trouble. And he saw it a mile away. I didn't see anything.
Mhm.
So I think both of us have intuition that sparks up at different times for different things.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed his talk a lot. And afterwards, we were talking to him about stuff for next year for Sukkot, and we suggested that he do like a class with just the men, like have a men's class and talk about things and discuss things, because one of the things that he talked about that he's finding in a Torah community, in any situation, is having women and families messaging him with porn addiction and different things like that. And so that's one of the things that he was referring to. And so what you should do a class where you talk about this stuff about how, like, being a husband, being a godly husband. And then we suggested doing a class with women and just having, just sit around and talk about things. And one of the things that we talked about was the Garden of Peace books.
Mm-hmm.
They have the
Peace
men's
books?
Garden of Peace. Yep.
Mm-hmm. There's a men's version and then there's a woman's version.
It's by Rabbi Shalom Arush.
He's mentioned that before.
Yeah, they're really
the
good.
women's one's called Women's.
Away?
What's that?
He's been giving that away during marriage counseling.
Okay.
I think so.
I think the women's version is called Women's Wisdom, and then
Yes.
the men's version is called the Garden of Peace.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so we have both of them. Dustin has not finished it because he hates reading. I've read the women's version a few times. And so, but one of the things that they talk about in the book is that the women do not read the men's version and the men do not read the women's version.
Oh, they're not allowed to?
They're not
Right.
allowed to, because you need to focus on what you're supposed to be doing, not what your husband
Right.
or your wife is supposed to do, which makes sense to me.
Right.
That's good advice. By the way, I actually think that's why like those Christian romances are so
No.
deadly damaging to people's marriages, because they are books that are encouraging women to have a certain picture of what their husband ought to be doing for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually wildly inaccurate and romanticized to the point where no real husband is going to be able to fulfill this. And so the wife
Can't
ends
live
up
up to it.
discontented. And I think the same thing could happen if she read the men's version. See, this is what you're supposed to be
Yep.
doing.
Yeah, that's why they suggest I think they say it in the first part of the book. I think that it's one of the things is do not read the men's version
Right.
and do not read the women's version.
I've started reading the book twice, and then after the second time, I was like, because like for me, it's like I'm on the road, I'm on my truck, and it's like when I get done in the evening, and I settle in. It's like start reading the book, and the next thing I know, I'm like nodding off, and I'm like,
yeah, people do read to go to sleep.
And so I went online. I thought, well, maybe I can find this like on book on CD or book on tape, sort of thing. I couldn't find, play while I'm driving, but I couldn't find anything where anywhere it was like an audiobook version. But I did find a thing where a guy was like, basically, wasn't going through and reading it word for word, but he was like reading portions of it, like the highlights of each chapter, and then giving his commentary on it. And when I was listening to those, it was going over when he was going over the stuff that I'd already read. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. So then I went ahead, I'm based on his commentary, got the highlights of some of the other chapters, but then ended up didn't even finish with that because he had some stuff where his videos got taken down due to like copyright because he had some intro music or something that he used, and so there was copyright. So YouTube pulled the videos down. So there's like 15 videos I watched, and then there's like a section of like 7 of them that it's not there, and then there's like the end. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna watch this, skip these middle sections and get to the end. So, but yeah,
they're good books though.
It might be worth checking it out.
As long as you don't read mine.
Amazon, right?
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of books, I was given we were given 2 books during Sukkot.
Do we have them handy?
The other one, talking about Tom's?
Yeah, Tom's and then Kevin's.
I don't have either. I haven't unpacked yet.
They're somewhere around here.
We had Kevin's available. We might still have it.
We have the 50 days, and not the other
The
one.
Why We Homestead. So Kevin gave us gave everybody a book called Why We Homestead.
I've read about 2-3 chapters of it. It's really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Real page turner?
Uh-huh.
Is there pictures?
Page turner.
No.
Turner.
Uh-huh.
The pages.
Yeah, his grandma used to joke with every baby that we needed to name it Paige if it was a girl.
So she would read a lot.
She would laugh hysterically at the
She's
joke every time.
Page turner.
Uh-huh.
That's funny.
But anyway, Kevin's book is more, I think, about family philosophy than it's really about homesteading. And it's family philosophy that we're really familiar with. But it's really funny to run across somebody else that we've never really discussed this with, have all the same thoughts or very, very similar thoughts to ours. Right along to he goes, I don't believe in teenagers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, yeah, I've heard that before. So
Ben,
it was a good book.
You were telling me one of the things you said that was in the book was about why do we send our kids off to school to then take a class called home ec?
Yeah. I found that quite ironic.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of school. I hated school from day one, but I made it through all 12 grades, and then I went off to college, and I survived it, mostly intact.
Didn't you say when you were in school you signed up for home ec?
I did. I signed up for home ec because they had a microwave, they had an oven, they had a sink. I'm like, man, I'm like home. Cook some food up. I think that just is an indication that I didn't want to be there.
Right.
I wanted to stay home.
Yeah, if any place looked like home, you wanted to be there.
And I remember sewing. That was one of the activities they had.
They made you sew.
They did. They made me sew.
I
Yeah.
wonder if they still do that, because really, what's the point?
I was the only boy in that class.
See, in my school was so small that home ec was a required course. Everybody had to take it.
Right.
So like everybody, I remember making a pin cushion that was shaped like a bear. You use that like that was your project the first semester. Then the second semester you had a bigger project where I think I made a pillow, like a University of Michigan pillow. And then I think the next so so there is 2 big projects. There was a small project and then 2 big ones. So like the second big project was making a sweatshirt.
Wow.
So yeah,
I never got that far.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty
got to
good.
make a sweatshirt with the hood and it had the pocket in the front and all that stuff. So
Well, that's pretty good.
yeah.
You can make that. You really could sew your own clothes.
He actually does so. I don't.
I don't make clothes though. I can sew patches. Like I have some shorts I need to sew some patches on for work. But
I bought a sewing machine, and I was gonna learn how. Jamie was gonna teach me, and then it didn't work out. And so I haven't touched it. It's still in the box.
My sister's a seamstress. She's the kind of person who makes wedding dresses. And
oh wow,
Real tough.
so I can sew, but I always feel like I can't.
I got her a sewing machine.
Well, I have used it too. I
On
made
occasion.
curtains for your office.
Yeah, she did.
I can sew.
She did.
And I'm probably going to have to start doing more sewing now because Abigail's about at the age where you can't find any decent dresses that are longer than like mid upper thigh.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to have to start making her clothes.
Clothes. I hate shopping. I'm glad. It's one good thing about not having a daughter, though, is that I don't have to worry about
The boys' clothes are a little
that.
easier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
There's a cat on the roof, I think.
is that what it is?
On the
I'm gonna go
roof?
check.
Cat on the roof.
I hear the dogs jumping around at the back porch. I'm gonna go check it real quick. No, keep talking.
I was actually thinking about going to get the books. Props. We got the
I
Why We
keep-
Homestead.
I keep hearing the kittens rustling around in their box and thinking it's one of my.
I
Here's
keep
something.
checking the monitor to see if our girls are okay.
Did you you want to tell a story about the kittens?
So,
No more kitten stories.
what with the kittens?
They were born.
They were born on trumpets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. So we had a bunch of people over here, and the cat that gave birth, she did it right on the deck in the cat house with everybody around.
With an audience, huh?
And normally cats will go and hide. They don't they want to be quiet by themselves. And she did it on the porch with everybody watching her.
She's
and
only
she
a
didn't
year-old cat. She's a young mother.
Yeah, she didn't care. And so she had 3 kittens, 2 boys and a girl. So then we brought her in the house. And she's like right here. She's
Right
in
there,
there in the kennel.
underneath the-
She's in a kennel and she'll be in the kennel probably for just a few days. And then I'll start bringing her out. But we had to have her in there for Sukkot because she brings them out. Now she doesn't want anybody around them. So when she'll bring them out and she goes and hides them.
Well, they're pretty darn cute. I don't blame her.
Yeah, they are.
And somebody said, we can't get rid of them.
Hey, there's Jenna.
Service sucks here.
She knew.
Gina!
You called her Jenna. She's
You
gonna.
did. She's going to beat you.
Did I say Jenna?
You did.
Gina.
Every time he sees her name written, he says Jenna. If
But
he
I see
sees
her in person. I call her Gina.
I think he doesn't notice there's only one N.
I suppose.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
can't hear me
she's
anyway
weird.
because service sucks here anyway.
Saved by the bad. What was I gonna say? They were singing about kittens and kids. Oh, the kids saw them today, and Daniel is still obsessed with nursing.
Yeah.
So he looks in the box, and the kittens are nursing. And Ben says to him, "What are they doing?" And he goes, "Kittens nurse you too." So every time he walks past the box, he tells me that mama nursed kittens.
Yeah, they're a little loud.
The kittens are?
Mm-hmm. But she's more loud than they are because she wants out. So in a few days, we'll let them
She'll be able
out.
to roam.
And because she'll have to teach them how to go on the litter box. And of course, if they go outside, it's not going to matter. But it's too cold for them to go out right now.
Right.
Well, not tonight.
So
Tonight it might be
it's
okay.
warm, yeah.
It's gorgeous.
That's
out
what
tonight.
happened. That's one of the things that happened at Sukkot. Sukkot started off as winter, and then it became
Oh, yeah.
spring, and then we hit
Mhm.
summer.
Yep.
4 seasons.
So
It's cold.
I brought along clothes. I brought along a whole wardrobe of clothes because I kept watching the weather report. It was going all over the place. So I had hats, mittens, and scarves, and short sleeve shirts and shorts.
Yeah.
And
I
kinda
drove down
everything
in shorts,
between.
remember?
And Ben apparently packed his suitcase.
Well, I figured we're going down south where it's hot. You
He
know?
apparently packed his suitcase thinking it was going to be 85 degrees the whole time. And so the first night we're straight going to bed and it's cold. It got down to 39 degrees or something
It's
that first
freezing.
night. And he's like, maybe I brought my pajama pants. And I'm like, well, I got them out for you to pack them. And I looked through his bag and he's got 4 pairs of shorts and a bathing suit and
Yeah.
t-shirts. And I'm like, Ben, please tell me you brought something.
So no long underwear, no pajama pants.
So he tried sleeping in his jeans,
That didn't work out.
wearing warming packets.
Oh, I can hear you, Ben.
Gina just commented.
There's a lifetime.
Sorry, Jenna.
This has been.
You can't hurt me from here.
Hey, she could drive here and sneak into your tent in the middle of the night. Just saying.
You're
Just
not
saying.
in Michigan anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
There's not hours of separation, so
I'll
We're
tell you what.
leaving tomorrow.
I think if you're wise, you're going to put Rebecca between you and the door too.
yeah, that's funny.
See, because we just have a regular tent. We don't have a canvas tent. And we don't have a heater.
You don't have.
Gina says it's chilly there now.
So we just snuggle.
Well, that's kind of what we have to do.
Like, we don't bring long pants. He wears the shorts.
I wear my shorts. If it gets really cold, I put on jogging pants, and then I have a thin pair of. They're not wool socks, but they're a thermal sock, you know.
Yeah,
but they're a really thin pair.
Ben basically normally has a pair of like lightweight thermal or sweatpants or something. So
now, we actually did get some pajamas at the.
By the 4th or 5th day, once we got, I think it was the Friday, so we had to get through High Sabbath, and then we got on Friday. I went to Walmart and I bought him some sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and so finally that night we were warm. But part of the problem is we have to keep getting out of bed to take care of kids.
Yeah.
So once you get out of bed, you get cold. Then you got to get in bed and warm back up again. So I think
and blow the air mattress back up.
I think if we went,
that's your problem.
No air
that
mattress.
Right there is your problem. The air mattress.
Yeah.
That'll make you colder than anything
we've got
going.
the sleeping bag on top of it, and then we've got a comforter over that.
Yeah.
Pack for all 4 seasons when it comes to Arkansas.
Yeah. It is.
Well, I would have thought that was just Michigan, but apparently it's
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
So anyway, we I think that Ben would have probably been warm enough in just his shorts if we would have just stayed in bed all night. But the fact that we had to keep getting up and then letting the cold air in, and then
We were taking turns too.
Well, the one night, so Elena got sick on Thursday night. So by Monday night,
Gina said, "Stop it now! I know where you are."
Sorry, Gina.
boy, that's got to be quite a lifetime she's experiencing. If she's
Yeah.
just getting that now.
Well, they're still out there, so she's probably on Zach's Wi-Fi.
Okay. So by Monday night, all the kids had a sore throat. So we basically spent Monday night up the whole night.
Yeah.
it was pretty brutal. It got better from there. We went back uphill after that.
That did go around camp sickness.
She said, "I love my wood stove in our tent. We only used it a few times."
Yeah, rub it in.
Yeah, we didn't have any heater. We had our little hot.
Does
hot
your
pads.
tent have the flap so you could have a stove?
You can
No.
install one. You can
Okay.
make one, but it doesn't come with.
Doesn't come with one.
I'm
Well,
kind of
there's-
nervous about those. Putting one in the tent with all the little kids in there.
Yeah. He's talking about wanting to get one next year. I did like out of all of the canvas tents, I like the Woodson's and the Johnson's tent the best.
I did like those tents a lot.
Yeah.
I initially looked at getting one like that, but we couldn't afford it in our budget. And besides, they were sold out.
They
They were
were.
flat sold out.
Yeah. And for us, it's different because we have Eli, and probably next year he'll probably have his own tent.
Really?
Because he wanted to have a boys tent this year. And so he's actually camping right now because he's like, I don't
Yeah, we
wanna
came
get
home for
rid of
Sukkot. He's
Sukkot.
like, I want to set the tent up in the yard and finish out the week in the tent. So he's out there right now with 2 of the Raptors boys. I think they're playing Catan in the tent right now.
With headlights on.
So-
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played Catan earlier today.
We did.
Yeah.
6-player.
I remember.
I should have won. So if you don't know, when you do more than 4 players with Catan, there's a rule called special build because you
You
can
didn't win?
accumulate a lot of cards.
I won.
He won.
Yeah,
You
I
didn't
missed
know?
that.
I won. You missed that?
I missed it.
Yeah,
No, I
I
thought
won.
the game was over.
No.
I had to go take.
So
care of
he
it.
won.
I won.
I technically got to 10 points first. So on a special build, I built a city and put a settlement in, and it gave me the 10 points. But you can only win the game on your turn. It was a special build. So I think it was your turn, Lauren, when I did that. So I had to go through you and then
me.
You had to go all the
Cassie,
way around
and
the
then
village.
I had to go through everybody. Yeah, because I was right after you. So it comes around to Ben, and
Right.
he. What did you throw?
So I had 8 points, and I thought, okay, if the right dice get rolled, I can actually get 2 points in my next turn, and the right dice are rolled, and I'm just like, okay, play this right, and I figure this out, play that card, and boom, 10 points, and that was game. I
Yeah.
won
Wait a minute. So if a person gets to 10 points, but they do
on
it,
their turn.
Has to be on
You
their
have to-
turn.
You have to have it.
So
on
like
your
you
team.
got to
I got to 10
points.
points.
on
Off.
my turn.
Yeah.
Yes. So we had to go
Special
around
build.
to his turn.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a sneaky little rule.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the downside of special build.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it is advantageous because that way you can get rid of cards and not have to throw them away if the 7 was rolled. You know.
But it also means that if you get 10 points, another person could catch up.
Yep. Which is exactly what happened. But
But you could get 11 points.
Yeah,
But
if
it
you
wouldn't
did
matter. Whoever gets 10 points is who wins.
And it had to be on their turn, so he still wouldn't have gotten to 10 points on his turn.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
I got it.
But no, if
So-
you got to 11 points, if someone else got the 10, you're still in the lead.
We can
right?
just point out I'm the complete Catan ignoramus at this table. I can't remember what card goes where and what builds what.
You did fine.
Every time a 10 was rolled, I was getting 6 wheat. Every time a 4 was rolled, I was getting a wood, 2 brick, and
Yeah,
2 sheep.
every time we rolled something, you took all the cards from me.
When a 10 was
then-
rolled, I just grabbed the stack of wheat, pull out what I need, and throw the few that were left on our side.
Right.
Well, I know it was fun to visit.
It was a fun game.
We ate peanut butter M&Ms and meat sticks.
Oh, we ate so bad.
We ate so
We're still snacking like it's Sukkot.
Yeah.
Next year's Sukkot's even earlier. It won't even run into October. Really?
Next year, Sukkot's in September.
That depends.
You're forgiven.
Depends on when
Yeah,
you
I
think
saw that.
Passover is going to be.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Because I looked at
Is it one of
it-
those
it could
years?
be-
It's one of those
Yes.
Aviv years.
it could be like middle September to ending before
So-
October, or it could be middle of October ending late
So
October.
next year-
that's brutal if you start in the middle of
So
October.
yeah, so I looked
Yeah.
at here. I can look at it real
So that
quick.
means next year, like half are going to do it this way and half are going to do it that
It
way.
could
I'm
be.
I'm voting for the middle of September right now.
I'm voting for the middle of October one right now, to be honest.
Really?
I do not want to be out in a tent.
I have that
middle of
app.
October. Maybe next year we can get a heater. If it's going to be in the middle of October, I think we need a heater.
Okay, so as of right now, looking at the phases of the moon app, the new moon would be September 6th of 2021, which would then make the start of Sukkot on the 15th, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So that'd be the 21st. Yeah, full 20th, 21st, somewhere around there.
So the 20th is full or the 21st?
So that's just
20
about
this
the
says
same.
the
That's
20th
only
is
a week
full.
earlier. Because this year it started on the what was it?
It started
October
first.
1st. That's just you're just talking a week earlier.
Okay, so right there, the moon, that's the autumnal equinox will be on the 20th of September.
Wait a minute. The equinox is on the full moon?
Well, if it says that it's 12 hours of moonlight, so it'd have to be 12 hours of daylight.
Oh, wow.
That's weird.
That is weird.
When did
So,
that
A
happen?
full moon and on the
On the equinox. And then the equinox is on the 20th. Not is it on the calendar normally like the 21st,
I'm not sure.
I think.
That's
might
a
be the
little bit early,
21st.
Yeah.
Or if
Wow.
you fast forward to the next month, the new moon would fall on October 6th, which means it would be October 21st then would be the full moon would be the
So
20th.
so it depends what the barley's doing.
I suppose, yeah.
Hmm.
So
Another one of those years.
Another one of those years. I mentioned
We'll
I
see.
really despise all the calendar
I do
confusion.
too.
It feels like we never really quite know what's going on.
No.
takes us back to the scripture, no man knows the day or the hour.
That's what I said. Remember?
Don't you remember in Revelation that Jesus said that he wrote that just so that we would sort of know what was going on?
He did.
No, I don't remember
No,
that.
he says, this is the revelation that has been given to me to pass to my followers.
Awkward silence.
You're still thinking that over.
Well, I still think like that
Ooh, 2022 is brutal.
she's only looking forward to 2022.
No, she said then
Oh.
2022 is late in October around the 17th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, burr.
That's usually like a couple years ago or a few years ago, we had it in September.
Yeah, but then afterwards we're like, this was way too early. We did it the wrong month. It should have been the following month.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking at forward to next year. That we're going to be like almost over with the first two what we call fall feasts, Day of Atonement and Day of Trumpets, would come before the autumnal the autumnal equinox. So that would mean that we probably would need that those should actually come after that, which would mean it would be in October, the new moon in October, not the new moon in September.
Mhm.
That's what I'm looking at. Now, does the scriptures actually say the fall feast? It doesn't say the fall feast. That's just
No.
what we classify it as. It
Right.
says in the
Call it that.
7th month. So you have to look at again when does the first month,
Right.
and count forward from there. So
Hmm.
it's either gonna be March or April.
Calendars.
We just got through the Sukkot. We're all yawning. It's the Sukkot crash.
is.
We came here for the day because we got all packed up yesterday, and we were actually pretty successful packing up, but we would have had to travel on Shabbat to get home. And so Dustin and Cassie said, well, you could come and stay at our house. He said, you have a house full of people all here. I said, that's okay.
We're only 7
You
people.
guys are
Right.
gluttons for punishment.
We love having people around, and actually half of them are still out
They're
on the
still at
mountains.
Sukkot.
So
Well, whatever the case, we came and they fed us better than we ate all Sukkot.
Made scrambled eggs this morning, and omelets, and pancakes, and toast.
Yeah, Eli and Abigail had a blast flipping pancakes on the
Mhm.
grill.
Oh, yeah.
I think that may have been the highlight of Abigail's day.
But she's out.
They are so homesick. They were sitting in the tent yesterday, going, "Can we just go home?"
They're ready. They're ready to go home.
Now, last
That's
night,
usually what happens, though.
after everything being so cold at Sukkot and sleeping on the elements, like last night, I
It was
woke up.
hot.
Yeah, it was hot. It was hot in here, and I was like, I woke up in the middle of the night and cranked the air conditioning down to 72 because I was like, I was sweating in the middle of the night in my
Yeah,
sleep.
I woke
so.
up and I was thinking, why did you put on warm socks?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
It's-
hot in here.
Yeah,
And
It's
it
a
was
lot
hot today.
Yeah, it got really toasty today.
yeah.
And
I
I guess it's
appreciated
supposed
the
to
air
be-
conditioning.
I've heard it's supposed to be
Big time.
toastier tomorrow. So,
Yeah, it's normal.
but we're gonna be driving north, so we're probably gonna.
We saw some beautiful sunsets.
Tonight's sunset was really nice.
Mhm.
Last night was okay. It was, I mean, good sunset, but it was just
Well, Eli
blue
took some
skies.
pictures because over here, it looked like snow,
Yeah.
like the way that it was on the.
We had a lot of
The
mist
clouds.
and
It
stuff
almost looked
going on
like,
this morning.
Like a water rushing over.
Yeah, the
Oh,
clouds
really?
were
It
doing
was
neat
pretty
stuff
neat.
over the
Yeah.
mountains.
This morning was misty.
yeah.
It was really, really.
I really
Pretty.
did enjoy the weather this Sukkot quite a bit. Even the cold, we had a lot of really sunny days, a lot of really pleasant weather.
And no rain.
There was just
No
and
rain.
a lot of times you get like these raw rainy days where everyone just wants to it's like we want to go inside now.
Yeah.
I never really, except for the cold, felt like that. So I would say that the weather was really pleasant.
Yeah.
It rained the day before Sukkot, but that was
That's
it.
why everything was wet when we
Ben
got
got
there.
poison ivy for the first time. He was out gathering
That was
goodly
not fun.
boughs in the in the
I'm
forest.
still itching from that.
I don't
Yeah.
see it anywhere.
It's on my other hand.
Oh, is it?
He got it on his ring finger.
Oh, yeah,
but
that's
it got
right,
under
yeah.
his ring. So he took his wedding ring and he put it like
I don't
this.
think you can see it on camera, but it's on my hand.
He put it like this on his knuckle because it was all had a rash around his finger. Then he's walking around like this, and I'm thinking, I should tell him that's going to fall off. And sure enough, an hour
fell
later or
off.
so, he's like, "Oh no, my ring is missing." And of course, it had to have been after he walked all over the entire homestead, so we have no idea. Where
So I
his
left
ring
my
is.
wedding band on the homestead.
So there's a titanium wedding ring floating around Zach's house
Just-
somewhere.
My question is, does titanium show up with a metal detector?
I don't even know.
Because I know Joshua has one, so he could do
I've
all
never
the
tried.
try to find one and see if we find it or not. But
It could be up by the house because Ben was working up by the house that morning.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We didn't see it.
we'll have to relay a message to Joshua that he might be able to find somebody's wedding ring.
That and an entrenching tool.
Yeah,
Like one of those small
we have a very
shovels.
old entrenching tool, and
It just went missing.
I'm not sure, but I suspect some children thought this would be a great thing to use because it's.
And
small.
I've seen some kids with one of those, like one of those
Yeah.
little tiny, short little shovels.
That's yeah.
I've seen some kids with one of those over by the wood pile.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I didn't find it. I looked for it.
We should send the bulletin out.
Yeah.
It'll be in the
Yeah.
Lost and Found bowl next year.
I did
sticking
look
out.
in the Lost and Found, by the way.
Well, they don't know it's lost yet. They'll find out after everybody leaves.
Yeah. Actually, when they unpack and they say, "Hey, where's this? Who brought this back?"
That's what the Facebook group would be good for.
Yeah.
We should do that. Do a post in there. We've lost this, this, and this. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
Everyone's unpacking their boxes, going, "Hey, did we have two of these?" Yep. Packing up always gets a little chaotic when everyone's trying to. And you start off packing so neatly to come home,
I know.
and then by the end of packing, you're just throwing.
You're just
stuff
throwing
everywhere.
things.
There's room here, throw it in here. That's why Stephanie and Kenny Kratzmeyer got packed up before us. And I said, "How did you do that?" Because we went so much faster than we usually do. And Stephanie said, "Well, we may have just started tossing things into."
That's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess to unpack.
Samson and Tara definitely did not start tossing things because they
They
used
could not.
every cubic inch of
I've
We've done
never
that they had in
their
seen
car.
I've never seen as much stuff packed in their like in a tiny car like that. Like
Yep. Well, we lost our ribbon to them. That's usually us coming with the packed car, but they
Yeah.
beat us.
Trailer.
it did.
No, that they packed even tighter than we did.
That's what I mean.
Part of it is that they have slightly bigger children. I think they just basically wedged the children in.
But you know, if the weight is off on the car when you're going up that mountain, you might do one of these.
Well, once they got on the mountain, they left their car on the mountain. They're like, we're not driving
on.
this." Yeah.
They're afraid of getting a flat tire or something.
Well,
That happened to
Everybody
us.
always gets a flat tire.
This year
At
was the
least-
Almases.
Almost.
and
Yep.
the Kratzmeyer.
And the Kratzmeyers.
and
The Kratzmeyer's got
uh,
one too?
Yep.
and the Lucases.
Oh, yeah, Lucas's did
and
too.
the Vandevers got one on their trailer.
Wow, there was 4 flat tires this year.
Yeah, every
It's
year
bad
there's
year.
always the
But
flat.
not us.
The Almonses, they got their flat tire from
Yeah.
a tent stake left previously by somebody else, and they ran over top of it.
I
This-
looked really. I'm
I-
pretty
we were
sure
really-
I dug
careful.
it out of the ground. It was a chunk of rebar with a washer welded an inch down from the top.
That doesn't
Uh,
make it.
So somebody pounded it down, so the washer was below the ground, but then there was like that much rebar sticking above the ground, and they ran over that, and it was enough to puncture
That'll
their
do it.
tire.
They'll do it.
This
So-
year, for the first time, I didn't make it up the mountain the first time.
Really?
You
Yeah,
slid.
I
I've always been
got
afraid
like
of it.
halfway up, and the car was like, "Nope, not having it." And so we had to back all the way down in the dark. And we got to the bottom, and I was like, "Eli, you're going to get your dad," because I'm not. I was at that point, I was like, I'm too paranoid to try to drive up it. And Eli goes, "Mom, let's just pray." And so he prayed, and he said, "Just go for it." And we went for it, and we made it up.
Good
Awesome.
job.
But I was like,
You do have
That's
your
never happened.
Yeah, she is.
your front passenger tire though is about ready to be
"Oh yeah, I'm
changed.
sure."
It's almost bald, so that doesn't help you get any traction trying to dig into that gravel going up the hill.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I went up and down the hill for the first time this year. Usually Ben always drives because I've never gone anywhere without him. But with the kids sick, when I went into town, we left all the sick kids home. I took the two of the little
well
ones with
kids.
me who are well, and I took them to do laundry and to get some things. And so that's the first time I've made that drive by myself. And
You
on
took
the
them
way
into Walmart,
up,
didn't you? Did you take the kids into Walmart?
yes, I did.
Wow. Anyway, good. Continue.
On the way up, I did feel the car start to falter, and I'm like, "No, you're not gonna."
Yeah.
I may have floored it.
Right.
Gina said we may or may not need to make a few trips.
I actually did go off the road going into Zach's driveway because as I turned in, the sun was just at the right angle and it completely blinded
blinds
me
you.
and I could not see the road. And I went down into the ditch a little bit and came
Uh-oh.
up the other side. So you could still see the tire track. I went down and up again. And Elena goes, "Mom, that was scary." Well, just you wait. Now we got to go up the hill.
Did you go in 4-wheel drive?
No, I didn't set it to 4-wheel drive. We've gone up and down the hill without it before.
It's
And
true.
I didn't think to do it. I was still a little rattled by the ditch incident.
Yeah.
Because we'd already missed a cow and a flock of goats coming in. There was
Country
a whole
life.
flock of goats. They were just sort of strung out across the road.
Mhm.
So I stopped and I beat my horn at them, and they're like, "What? You want us to move? All
I know.
right."
Yeah.
I made 2 trips coming off the mountain. You made 1. So we packed the van up and packed my truck up. She drove her van. I drove the truck. We came
My van was
home.
loaded down.
Yeah, like she couldn't see out the back window. I
We
used
made one trip.
Yeah. Well, then we got home and I unloaded the van, or we unloaded the van, and then I went back and had to roll up the mattress, tear down the bed frame, and then tear down the tent and all that, which Philip and Gina helped me out with that, so that saved a lot of time. But yeah, like this year we actually had an actual real legit bed frame that our mattress was sitting on. So it's like a 10-inch bed frame. So that was nice. In years past, we just used like wood pallets just to get that far off the
Oh,
ground.
yeah.
So it was nice to actually walk in the tent and actually sit down on
And
the
the
bed like a
frame
normal
is-
bed.
The frame is actually going to be lighter to pack than all those pallets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
We just had to figure out like to have it level
Yeah.
because
We can't.
you know, it's when you have a weighted blanket though, like literally every night we were like pulling the blanket up throughout the night because it just slides. And then I would end up like,
Exercising every night.
this is the bed, your head's supposed to be here, my head would be here, my
Yep.
feet would
Yep.
be here
Yep.
every night.
Well, what happens to us is I always find where the downhill slope is, and I
Head up.
arrange everybody with their feet pointing downhill. Because if I point them at the side, the kids roll out of bed all night. So they've got their feet. So you wake up in the morning and all the kids have slid down to the end. And like a few times I found Elena in her sleeping bag, like off the end of the bed. It's like, where'd she go?
Maybe we should go the other way and not let all the blood drain into our heads. Put your feet up high.
So, you get up in the night and you start pulling children back onto the mattress.
Yeah.
And they'll stay on there.
Yeah.
So it was
It wasn't-
So this year
Gina
we
said
had
she
our
tried cracking up.
we got our new Camp Chef cook stove, and we had the flat top grill. And I had fun cooking on it. I made hash browns for breakfast a few times, made omelets, made toast on it.
She said she thought the goats were deer.
Oh, look at all the deer out in the Oh, wait.
Meh.
Nope, not. I thought that the goats were quite a surprise to me because I had never seen them free ranging before.
I think they're the Hudsons.
Yeah, they are. And one of the guys, one of the sons from one of the other camps, he left and he came up the hill and he's like, who did the goats belong to? Because they ran down into the road and down the ditch the other side. I'm like, don't fine. That's who they belong to. So they just ran off of Zach's property into their property. So no big deal.
Yeah.
But he was all concerned that
talking about free range,
right?
Aren't they supposed to get them penned in?
Yeah.
So do we have any other excitement? Now that we've talked about cold nights and goats blocking the road and calendar confusion and we can leave out any interpersonal drama. Just major excitement.
I broke the igniter knob on our brand new stove, so I'm going to either cut to call them to see if they'll warranty that, or I looked up, there's a parts kit thing that you can get for it that has a new igniter knob, new leg screws, and something else.
So like a maintenance kit. Oh, we lost.
Maintenance kit.
We lost one of the filters on our Berkey.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's old. It's 5 years old, and Ben poured the first batch of rainwater through it,
and it came out yellow.
And it came out yellow on the other side.
Something's
it's yellow
not
when
right.
you put it in. So it came out yellow, and he goes, "I don't remember doing this before." So we picked up the Berkey and we watched the different filters, and 3 of them are dripping, and 1 of them is running.
Streaming.
And we tried to tighten it, and it wouldn't tighten. We said, we
done.
give up. This one's done. So we took that one out, and I thankfully I thought I bought some rubber plugs ahead of time because I thought, we had 4 new filters and we had rubber plugs, and we decided not to try to go through priming all the other filters. If we had 3 working ones, that's enough. Hey,
Kenny,
must be home. So we put a rubber plug in the other space, and then the next batch of water was not yellow.
No.
So
that's one thing I did do. Speaking of with Kenny being here, is went around camp priming everybody's Berkey filters.
Oh, that was nice.
So he come to me, was having issues with his, and I'm like, hey, I got the priming pump thing to do that. But then we had to try to figure out something to put because you have to keep the filter fully submerged in water when you prime it.
Right.
And I was trying to find, I was going to go get a mason jar or something, but we didn't have one. But then Kenny got a big, it was a big gallon water jug, one of the big square ones. He cut the top off it and it was perfect. Fill that up with water and put that on there. And then
that's
you got
a
squeeze sponge. You get a sponge with the Scotch-Brite pad on the back of it. And
there's always problems with everybody's Berkey filters during Sukkot. So yeah, I very nearly bought the priming pump, but instead I just got extra filters, and I said, well, we have the little priming button, but that's not the same thing at all.
No,
you
have
the pump to squeeze everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So honestly, I think that should be one of the recommended items. Zach always says bring a Berkey filter. I think he should also say, and you need a maintenance kit and a pump.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because when you're depending on that for your water.
And 4 filters.
We have 2. Our
2 work?
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the rainwater, it wasn't working right. And so then he fixed it once we got the other water. And so once we used that, it was slow. Even with that water, it was really slow. But which I don't understand because it's the same water as what we have here. So I don't understand why there was a difference, but there was. And
it seemed like for the first few days, like the bottom 2 inches of the filters wouldn't filter any water. But then I think did I pull them out and clean them again? Or did I prime them again? I forget which.
It worked.
Then it worked. Then it would drain all the way down then.
Yeah, but then it still would go back to the same.
I think the rainwater carries some serious biofilm in there.
Something.
And so when you get it on the filters, even when you scrub them, it's on the inside of the tank, and it's just really hard to get the biofilm out.
Yeah.
It's yellow.
I honestly think the probiotics could really help us out with that, but we haven't figured out how to use it properly.
Yeah. Papa in the house.
Papa in the house. I figured you weren't going to be on, Kevin, because you're on the road earlier.
Yeah. We were going to plug your book, but we don't have any copies.
My copy's in the bedroom.
No, we
somewhere.
did plug his book already.
We plugged it, but we didn't show it.
Oh, we didn't show it, right. We talked about it, though.
So what was...
The other book was Tom's book.
Yeah.
Do you have Tom's book?
I have it somewhere.
We're
still... Our bed... I went in our bedroom early to get stuff, and it's like, oh, how are we going to go to bed tonight? So... our bed is covered with stuff from.
We're covered with clothes.
But Tom also released a book that he gave to everybody, just like it's more like a photo book, but it's on Psalms 119, and every day there's a picture with Psalms 119 is broken down into sections according to the Hebrew alphabet, starting with Aleph and Tav, right? It's the last one.
Yeah,
Aleph Tav. So he has each passage that is broken down for that letter, and then he has a picture that goes with it that relates to the meaning, behind the letter. So
Paleo Hebrew.
yeah, so he gave that to everybody. So
It's a really nice book.
It's
So that
beautiful.
was I would say one of the highlights was meeting Tom and Mary Liederbrand. I've not met them before. And they are really, really nice people.
mm-hmm.
They cooked a lot of good food.
They
Oh,
cooked
yeah.
a lot of good food. And
The
they're
campfire
really nice
music
people.
was nice too.
Yes,
Yeah, the campfire music
I
was
haven't
nice.
watched that video yet.
Yes, they are a blessing.
I recorded a video of him and Samson. Samson like rewrote like the song like "I'm Proud to Be American." He wrote "I'm Proud to Be Nazarene." So him and Tom.
I missed that.
Yeah, Tom. Well, I recorded it. So because earlier in
Yeah.
the week I posted when we had the cornhole tournament down at the Adams. I took a picture of Samson because he had his bandana on and sunglasses, his big long beard, and he looked like a guy from ZZ Top. And so I said, who wants to start a ZZ Top, cover band with this guy and call it ZZ Top?
Top.
So then when he did that with Tom, I recorded it, around the campfire, and then at the end I was like, "This is the premiere of the new Hebrew band ZZ Top." Tom doesn't have a beard for it anymore, but you give him a year, Tom used to have a big long beard like
He had
that.
a big long beard.
That's probably
Yep.
why I didn't recognize him. The only time I've ever seen him on other video, like with you guys, when he pretended to be Cassie.
Yeah.
He had a big beard.
Yeah, well, his previous job that he had to shave it, keep it short. So he was in the food industry, and so he had to keep it short because his big long beard wouldn't fit in a beard net very
Kevin
well.
says he read the entire book of Deuteronomy.
Yes.
That's no
Tom did.
small feat.
Yep,
Wow.
He reads really.
really
He's a
well.
good storyteller.
Whenever he comes over for Shabbat, we always just let him
Just like him read.
let Tom read the
I
Torah.
The
can
way
see that.
he
He's got
reads
such a
it,
nice voice.
Yeah.
the way he reads it, it's really.
Well, he used to work in radio.
Did he?
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Wow.
Well, he stopped by. Well, I'll back up a little bit. This is the first year we actually had a kitchen table. So we brought a table, and Ben found tree stumps that fit around it for chairs, although people said they weren't all that comfortable. They were somewhere to
They're not.
sit. And we had a tablecloth, and we put a candle in the middle of the table. And we noticed that people start... He has a nice face, Kevin. And
Kevin said he has a face for radio.
People began stopping by because we would have been putting the kids to bed, and we would light the candle in the middle of the table, and people would see the candle on. It just looked kind of homey. So we had a lot of people stop by to visit us, even though we
Smelled nice,
couldn't
too.
leave the tent at the time, which was really nice. I have to remember that. And Tom was one of the first people that did that. He came by with a lantern, and we were admiring the lantern, and he stopped and talked to us for a while. And I think that's the first time I've ever really talked to him.
Did he have his Holocaust cloak on too at the same time?
At one point, he did.
Because the first time he came around to our campfire with the lantern, he had his
Mhm.
cloak on. He looked like that guy from the
He
Princess
said he was
Bride.
dressing
Oh,
the
yeah.
part. One time he showed up with like pirate blouse.
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, he had his linen shirt on and,
Yeah.
and the cloak and
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, that was one of my highlights. Was there's a lot of people I enjoyed talking to, but I don't think I'd ever talked to them before.
mhm.
That was really nice.
I've seen him online a lot.
Yeah, and
Facebook
I've
Steven
seen
and stuff.
both of them mentioned a lot. I've just never met them during Sukkot for whatever reason.
Right.
And we got to camp right next to Kevin's family, which was fun.
Yeah.
I got to hold a 7-foot long.
That
black
was-
snake
yeah,
or
that was
something.
Black rat snake.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
That was nice. And then
What was the other
but
one?
I was thinking about him because we pulled up here to stay at the Wells house. Ben looked across the road and he said, "Look at that! There's a tarantula."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, big
He's
tarantula.
got a video
So
of
I
it.
look, and
Let's see if I can
you
find
can
it.
see it all the way across the road. This big old black tarantula just kind of moseying along up the road. So Ben took pictures of it because we didn't have the guts to.
Yeah,
pick
you'll
it
have to
up.
get up and go around by the camera.
Abigail wanted us to pick it up, and I said, "Well, I think if I knew a little more about how to tell if it was unhappy or not, I would try, but I really don't. So I'm going to leave it
Yeah.
alone." So Ben took lots of pictures. Think you could show the camera? I'm not
Yeah,
sure
maybe.
we'll be able to see anything. Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh, you can see
Oh
it.
yeah.
There he is. That's just
How
for you,
could you
Kevin.
see that?
It was this big, Cassie.
Oh.
You could see it from across the road.
Yeah, we saw it.
Kevin said if it starts biting really hard, it's not happy.
Good to know. Good to know. I'm really glad I know that now. Well, any creature, all creatures have their ways. Like a cat, you pick it up properly. You know how to do that. I don't know how to pick up a tarantula properly.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
I wouldn't have picked it up.
I wouldn't have either. I don't think so. Well, maybe with gloves on, just for precautions, because I don't know how dangerous.
Spiders are
they're not
creepy, too.
venomous, right? They just can.
I think they can
Pinch
give you
ya.
a pretty good bite,
Yeah.
like a bee sting. And
Yeah.
also the little hairs are Well, as Kevin says, the
I would
primary.
have, just saying.
That's not saying much coming from you, Kevin.
It's not. You're the expert. That's like saying, "Oh, I can pick up any baby." To somebody who says, "I'm afraid to hold a newborn; they're so fragile." Well, of course, I'm not afraid to pick up a newborn. I've had 5 of them.
He came to our house one time, and he was on the phone, and he was walking around, and he just thought, "Oh, that's a nice place for a Copperhead to be." And he picked up the box, and there was a Copperhead underneath it. And while he's on the phone,
talking
he
on the phone,
picks up the Copperhead
and comes out of the woods. And is like, "Look what I just found!" I'm like, "Oh." So I came inside and got my pistol, loaded up with snake shot. We took out in the middle of the field, and no more.
One
He
less
let you do that?
Copperhead.
Yeah.
He did.
Well, with venomous snakes, he's like, yes, there's that's a danger to children, that get rid of it. So
I think we saw a baby Copperhead while we were over at the ice cream social.
Yeah.
It was over at the corner of the kitchen, and it was about this big, and I could tell because of its bright tail. It was just a little guy. And
The
it was
kids
dead.
found quite a bit of snakes. They found quite a few.
well, that 7-foot rat snake they found that over by the wood pile.
Mhm. Eli and Joshua killed a Copperhead.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't.
He's the homeowner?
Yeah, me.
Yeah, me.
Oh, okay.
He's the only one on
We
his
blew the
property.
snake off. Yeah.
So maybe on his place he relocates them, but here we just
Well, he has enough land to relocate them.
yeah.
Yeah, if you relocate one here, it'll just come.
It'll just
right
come
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem. Anyway, we did not pick up the tarantula, but we definitely did think of Kevin when we saw
We
it
did.
meandering up the road like that.
We were not close to the road when I saw it either. We
No.
saw it from a distance.
I'll tell you though, I have kept the netting in the tent zip shut. So yeah, I don't want one of those come in. To uninhabited.
Uninhabited places. There you go. That.
That's what I do with squirrels. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Just saying.
You catch squirrels and take them for a ride?
I
do.
caught 20 of them. This
20
summer.
squirrels.
Really?
Yes.
And 3 rats.
I did not take the rats for a drive.
We
They
killed the
went-
rats.
They went for a quick drink and
They go for a swim.
So I guess you have a live trap then that you're catching
Yes.
them in?
Well, we don't have a firearm, and even if we did, I'm not sure about my aim. And even if I was sure about my aim, I'm not sure what would happen shooting them in a little subdivision.
Right.
Gina says Lauren is a champion squirrel catcher.
At this point, I'm a champion. You know how I catch them? Apples and peanut butter. They cannot resist.
Mm.
They baptize the squirrel in the name of death. No, the rats.
The rats.
Oh, the rats.
Not the squirrels, the rats.
Kevin said he'd rather be bitten by a copperhead than a squirrel.
Well, yeah, except that I wasn't in any danger of getting bitten by the squirrel because the squirrel was in the trap.
That's funny.
Yeah, oops, I meant rat. Yes, we did. We loaded up a tote and we took the live trap and went clunk.
Except it was a clear tote, so
And I was afraid all summer we were going to catch a skunk. I ran across a couple baby skunks. And
We almost ran over a skunk on the way home one of the nights. I think it was the same night I couldn't get up the hill. And I
that
was
was
like,
a bad night.
yeah, I was like, I almost hit it. And I said, oh, I'm so glad I missed it because that would have been horrible.
Drag that smell into
Oh.
camp.
Oh,
You thought the outhouse smelled bad. When do you smell their van?
it just popped up and I was like, oh no. And then it turned and I was like, and I went this way. It was, I was like, that would have been horrible to bring that into camp. I would have had to park down at the end of the driveway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Park at the Adams.
Yeah.
Leave it at the Adams.
Yeah.
No.
So did you guys play in the Cornhole Tournament?
no.
No? We did.
Have you ever seen us try to throw cornholes?
Mm-mm.
I mean beanbags.
Yeah, beanbags. So
I don't even know what it is.
It's just beanbags in a
See, I
hole.
thought you were going to line up and throw cornholes.
no. Who did we play first?
We played the Woodsons.
We played the Woodsons. We beat the Woodsons.
Mhm.
Then we played Tom and Mary. We beat Tom and Mary. But what Kevin say? I splattered one on the mud flaps and then parked in the garage, shutting the door. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yuck.
The question is, could you ever use the garage again?
Right? It
It
lasted
lasted
a
a
while.
I'm still trying to get the gas smell out of my car that wasn't there since August.
Ugh.
That's when you have to paint the garage with tomato juice.
Oh.
Milk.
That garage was dead to us.
I see Abigail stirring.
like, what's going on?
Why they have so much fun without me?
We needed to get Kevin on an hour ago.
That's hilarious.
So we Woodson's leader brands, and then we played with the Gambles. We lost to the Gambles. We kicked our butts. But I think was Matt and Tara the overall winners.
Yes.
And Matt also won the Catan tournament.
Wow,
Yeah, he did.
cleaned up this year.
Boy, he did.
Too bad there's no prizes.
He can make himself a trophy if he wanted to.
He could.
So, Ben, what was your highlight of Sukkot?
Probably at the river.
Baptized.
The
Baptism.
baptized, yeah.
Yeah. That
I've
was
never been baptized.
I baptized
Well,
I
okay,
baptized
I
my
was-
wife and 2 of my daughters.
I was sprinkled as a baby.
Was you raised Catholic?
I sure was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, till my parents got kicked out of the church.
Oh.
Yeah, they had children. And they read their Bible. They got kicked out.
I thought Catholics had lots of children, though.
Well, they did, but you're not supposed to bring them along to practice when you have a music ministry. This is serious business. You
Oh.
can't bring children around for
Oh.
that. So they gathered them together and had an intervention and said, we are in music. And you have one child, and now you're expecting another. And when's it all going to stop? And my dad used to quote that story by the time he had 9 children.
Jeez.
Wow.
9. Kenny said Josh conspired with him. Who did Josh conspire with?
I don't know.
There's a lag.
That was nice.
Probably for the Catan game.
Catan.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Catan. Yeah.
Ben was keeping everyone from noticing that I was crying like a baby.
I was doing my best.
At the baptism.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a few people that was emotional about it. We didn't go. And because I'm like, we were going to go watch everybody. And then because we had got baptized at for Day of Atonement. And so we were going to go watch everybody. But then I'm like, I would have to literally go the other way and go all the way around because I did not
like
want to
that
drive my car down that road.
That was a
It's
fun
an
road.
interesting road.
Very dusty.
We've done it before, and it's I'm like I don't want to do that.
And
So
Abigail
we-
about had a total meltdown because all of us got in the water and she somehow ended up on the shore. She just
Yeah.
completely lost it.
Oh, and Daniel was flipping out.
Yeah, Daniel wanted us to hold him the whole time. So Ben wanted to baptize me, and it's like, well, who's going to hold Daniel?
Good night, Gina.
Good night, Gina.
Good night, Jenna.
Good night, Gina.
She's gone to bed, so you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about her coming after you.
That's
I
right.
wouldn't be too sure about that.
Right?
No cinnamon rolls for you.
Oh,
Those are some good cinnamon rolls, by the way.
I missed them. Oh well.
Oh, excuse me.
So
I decided I didn't want to go to, or I mean, she decided about this not going. I was wearing my kilt that day for the baptism. I'm like, well, if I go down there, Zach might ask me to help him baptize people, and I'm like, I'm not getting in the water in a kilt. That's
you
might
can
not be.
always change.
The water was nice.
No.
It was not cold.
And I wore a skirt.
How long was your skirt?
A little bit below knee length.
Okay, see, my kilt was at my knee line, but still, I'm not. No.
See, I
but
have
not
ex-
taking.
Here's the
any chances.
difference. I have experience wearing skirts,
And I don't wear kilts enough.
and I'm accustomed to Michigan water.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
nice.
our
It
kids
was
went
pleasant
swimming
water.
after we were done. Look at Abigail's diving in the water, and Susanna's splashing around, and everyone else is standing on the shore with Zach talking about the polar bear plunge.
I'm like, there's for me, it's like there's no way this is a polar bear plunge. I've done the polar bear plunge
No,
before
that was no polar
in
bear
Lake
plunge.
Huron, where you go cut a hole in the ice, and
No, it was
I've never
warm.
done that before.
It was
but
warm
Oh,
up on the sand.
I did like in my early 20s, I think it was.
That's crazy.
Up in
That's a special.
Cedarville,
place.
Michigan. Yeah, there's a place there called is it called Cedar Campus or something like that? And they have a sauna right there just off of the lake shore. So we had like a winter retreat. So you'd go and get in the sauna and get nice
crazy.
and warm, and then you jump out and you run like 50 yards and jump through a hole in the ice, and there's a
Oh,
ladder you
that's
climb back
crazy.
up and run back to the sauna and get warm. One year I jumped through twice.
Oh.
The next year I jumped through 4 times, and I'm pretty sure I came down with pneumonia.
Yeah, that's kinda
After that.
hurt.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big extreme to go from the hot to the cold like that. The water was cold, easier to hide, Dustin. Hide Dustin or easier to hide, Dustin?
I think it's easier to hide, Dustin.
Yeah, how's the cold water hide Dustin?
No, I think he's saying it's easier to hide. It's Kevin, who knows?
No, what he means is hide
Oh, okay.
Your-
Yeah.
it's all tucked up. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh. You would
I
think
told
that.
I totally got what he said, but I wasn't about to say it.
Oh boy.
I had to explain
Okay. I'm naive. What can I say?
I wasn't thinking like that.
My brain doesn't go there.
My brain doesn't go there either, but I knew what he meant.
So your brain
Okay,
did go there.
so how was your
Kilt joke.
what was your highlight of your Sukkot?
Making this shirt.
Really?
Tie-dye.
Well, that's interesting. After all that.
Well, I didn't want to do the tie dye. I was like, whatever. And then she was like,
Zach did it.
so I was like, okay. So then I looked at the pamphlet and I was like, oh, I like that bullseye looking one. So like the shirt started out right here and then bunched up like that and then bunched up like you can see where the lines are. That's Yep.
Yeah, and then
like
you
that.
gotta turn it in a circle.
Yep. So
I did
Ben,
Eli's like
check your
that
Steam
too.
comments. Okay.
On what article?
Like which one? Kenneth Kretzmeyer.
meeting new people, the fellowship
Yes.
was great.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would say the best part was talking to people around the campfires. We would go at night and we would pick somebody and talk to them. I did have one conversation with somebody who it was kind of an out of body experience because she was talking about how over the past year she's implemented a parenting technique called tomato staking, which was really quite shocking to me because that's something that came from the little group of people that I grew up with. And I said, where did you hear about that? She goes, oh, Teresa Hutzler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
She does it.
I'm like, that's pretty amazing because I know the man who invented that term, and it's not like he was a big teacher or preacher or wrote books or anything. And when she was saying that, it was just, I was kind of, oh, that's very nice. I was just kind of marveling that it had gone, that concept had gone that far. So,
We just
You're gonna make me cry looking at that picture.
I see the picture, Kevin.
That was really nice.
Teresa has talked about that with me, and so we've done that. We've actually implemented that a little bit.
I should send you guys the book my friend Lynn Kruger wrote, talking about how that, because she worked a lot with
He says show the camera.
Okay. Just a minute. Saving it.
It is called Raising Godly Tomatoes.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yep, we can see it.
Yeah.
So that's been baptizing Lauren. Wow.
That was after baptizing.
Aw.
We're not big PDA people.
No. Well, I didn't realize now there's an entire crowd of people on the other side.
Oh yeah, then we got stuck in the water because this whole other group of people pulled up and started having basically a whole revival service on the bank. And we're stuck out, and then we can't interrupt. We can't get back out of the water. We were just stuck there out in the middle of the river, just waiting for that.
I think there's something special about men baptizing their wives and baptizing their children.
There is. We baptized Susanna and Abigail, and Susanna was really excited about it, and Abigail was not so sure she wanted to do that or not. I think she gets like embarrassed about important things, and she gets real self-conscious, and I think that's why she was so upset when we got into the water and she wasn't there. She just kind of completely lost it. She's standing there sobbing on the riverbank.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was holding Daniel and I slipped in the water. And we both kind of got into the water. He was terrified after that.
he basically insisted, "Daddy, not dunk me in the water.
Daddy, don't put me in the water.
Put me in the water."
Don't put me in the water.
I said, well, he's pretty young to baptize.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when we had talked about, or Eli actually brought it up to us because the Mutrias were having one for Day of Atonement.
Mm-hmm.
And Dustin and I were talking about it going just to watch everybody else or whatever. I was talking about wanting to go to watch everybody. And then Eli said he wanted to get baptized. And so we talked about it, and he said some things to us that showed us he was ready for that. So like he understood what it meant, because I'm not for like little kids
Right.
doing it. I feel like it's an important thing that you need to understand why you're doing it, and you should get it. And so
Right. The first time I was baptized, I was 5, and I barely remember it. And I didn't really understand the
Like in
significance of it.
In Susanna's case, Susanna is unusually. She recognizes that kind of thing very quickly, far quicker than any of the other children.
She's one
the
that'll go into the prayer closet.
She goes in the bathroom and closes the door, and if you interrupt her, she says she's praying about something, and she closed the door because that's what you're supposed to do. And she also has a super hypersensitive conscience.
Yeah.
So when we said there's going to be a baptism, the first thing she pops up with is, "I want to be baptized."
Right.
Well, are you sure you know what that means? Oh, she knew exactly what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But Abigail, on the other hand, she gets very nervous about it.
I'm not sure.
Is she awake?
No, she's sleeping. I'm not sure if she understands to the same. I sent a crowd pic too, but I'll work on getting the photos out to everyone.
Well, before I baptized both of them, I got a confirmation from them that they wanted to do it. It was completely willingly, you know. And I don't know all of the ins and outs of baptism, but I like the way Zach described it, for newness of life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I thought he gave a very good description of what that's like, what that's about.
Well, at any rate,
So Cassie,
I think it is pretty special.
what was your highlight of Sukkot?
My highlight was Tara and Samson coming.
Yeah.
More
They
nice
came from Ohio, and we had been talking for months, and we had a countdown going, and so I was really excited that they were there. And Eli, they're girls. They know some people in Torah. Last year was the first time that they had been around anybody at Take on the World, and then so they met people there, and so they've done fellowship a few times, but they've never done Sukkot with anyone, and so it was good for them, and it was nice for us.
It was a pleasure meeting them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It was. Yeah, their girls came and colored with ours at our little kitchen table and did some stuff with them, and I really was impressed by their parenting because of their girls.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed by the mom and the dad, even though I didn't really get a chance to talk to Tara and Samson a lot. I was impressed with their children. And they were very kind. They were very gentle. They were very just peaceful people to be around. So you kind of get a sense of mom and dad by the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy that they were coming around and playing. Then Mackenzie was really nice to have around also.
She's social butterfly.
She sure is.
She stopped in
and
a
she's
lot.
always so polite. She kept calling me Mrs. Well.
She's definitely a Southern girl.
Yeah.
She definitely has that. Thanks for the tzitzit, Kenny says.
You're welcome.
Sorry, it took her all week to get him done.
Was it Chris with a K?
Yeah,
Chris Smith.
Chris Smith.
And his wife.
Yeah, Chris Smith and BJ Smith were next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 Chris's and 2 Smiths.
I was glad to meet Hadley.
And 2 Williams.
And 2 Williams.
And 2 Johnsons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap.
Yep.
But only 1 Turner.
And only 1 Wells.
And only 1 Wells.
And there's only 1 Papa Pepper.
Yeah, that's right.
That is for sure. Yeah, he's definitely different.
Yep. And he definitely has a face for radio.
He has a face for you too. Yeah, 2 Kennys.
2 pennies.
Yeah, Papa Pepper's oldest wanted to bring a broom, and she had forgotten to bring a broom. And then she meant to get one when they went home, and she came back and she said, "I remembered everything that I forgot except a broom." She kept coming over saying, "Can I borrow your broom?" Then she'd come back and she'd say, "Thank you so much. That really helped us out a lot."
Yeah. Only 1 Papa.
Glad we had a broom for the Peppers.
Yeah.
We brought a broom this year.
And a dustpan.
Mm-hmm.
It was so helpful.
We brought a mop.
You brought a mop? Well,
We
yeah, I
did.
guess your tent,
I brought a little, like almost like a Swiffer mop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when you do the floor cleanup, the only other way to do it is on hands and knees with baby wipes. And last time I did that, it took me like 25 minutes. And I'm not doing this again.
when I packed up the tent, I didn't even finish sweeping all the tent because I'm like, well, I'm just taking it home. Eli's going to set it up. So like I swept the one half where we had all of our clothes and everything else. I swept that clean because I knew I was going to drag the mattress off onto that section to roll it up. But the section underneath the bed, I did not. I'm thinking Papa Squash could work.
Papa Squash.
A dustpan and
a
dustpan.
Dustin.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Knee slapper.
I didn't really clean our tent as thoroughly as I could on Friday because I knew we'd be setting it up again. I'm going to have to really mop it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Although here it's actually cleaner because there it was under trees. And so it was getting a lot of leaf fall. And if you get a leaf inlet when you fold it up, you will have mildew all around where the leaf was when you open it back up again. You cannot pack it with leaves.
And the floor's got a lot of dirt and dust and things in it.
It's not so. It may look a little dusty right now, but it's actually not bad.
If you guys need a shop vac or a vacuum cleaner to clean it easier, we've got that. So
maybe
we probably have enough extension cord to reach out there. I think maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow begins our 2-day journey home.
Does it take you 2 days to get home?
It takes us 2 days to get home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you had the little ones and everything. You stopped part way.
Yep, we're all in good health. Actually, I was the last one to get the cold.
Yeah, but you're still.
I'm okay.
Yeah, you didn't. It wasn't much of anything for you. I would say today is the first day that I felt pretty much things are kind of back to normal.
Jump in on the fires. Oh,
On the
the
fires.
campfires.
Yeah.
Well, after you said something, Kenny, I did consider going down and saying hello to Stephanie, maybe bringing some tea down to her. And I looked over there and everything was dark. I don't know if she was up or not, but I thought, man, what if I woke up the babies? Or maybe I better leave her alone. She'll come out if she, wants to come out.
That's the sucky thing about little ones.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of
when you're camping.
Yeah. For us, Eli just goes. And then we're like, okay, this year it was a little bit nicer because I could just say, okay, it's time to go to bed. And he would go to bed. Every other year I've put him to bed.
Thursday night, he'd come to us at like 9 o'clock. And was like, I'm going to bed. I want to get a good night's sleep because we're getting up early and packing up. I'm like, okay, cool. You've actually put himself to sleep.
Yeah, I heard that you were gonna isolate out with the chickens.
That's funny.
But it's been over a week since you were better, and I don't think anyone else came down with whatever Papa Pepper had. That was
caffeine withdrawal, I'm pretty sure is what he had.
That's what it sounds like.
It does sound like it.
By the way, if you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up.
all three people watching.
There's 5 people watching.
Wow.
We have 3 thumbs up. One of those was Gina, I'm sure.
Made it an entire hour in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, he got Papa Pepper. I felt bad for him. He got really, really sick. That was rough.
I didn't see him for like 2 days.
Well, and Maria was really worried about him. And she's standing outside just going, I hope it's going to be okay.
Well, the one nice thing is that there was 2 nurses there.
There's multiple people there who could keep an eye on him.
I mean, there was 2 there was 2
Thumbs
nurses,
down.
and then
No, they don't, Kevin. Look, one of the thumbs up went away.
Oh.
Come on, Kevin.
Hey, we thumbs up your videos all the time, Kevin, even the ones we don't have time to watch. It's like, oh, it's one of his. We need to give it a thumbs up.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
he just likes playing with you.
Right.
Shamed him into it.
You're speaking of Chris Smith. He had a really cool setup. He had a solar panel with a battery bank and all that.
That
so
was fantastic.
he could charge his phone. And then he had one of those like propane fire things with all the glass rocks and all
It
that
was a
kind
people
of stuff.
attractor.
Yeah, it was. I was like, that was really, really cool.
I never went over there and saw any of that.
Yeah.
It was really pretty. And it was nice and warm too. So every night he had 3 or 4 people would stop by and sit down and talk with him. So it worked great. And then he didn't have to leave he and his wife didn't have to leave. They have a little 1-year-old too far around.
Thumbs down. Do help. And help.
Okay.
Yeah, they left early because the baby got sick.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the baby was okay.
It was Sharon,
Lee.
the
It was
older one.
the older one, the 8-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
She got sick, and then they said it was like the day before the last day of Sukkot, and they said if she's sick, the baby's going to get sick.
Yeah.
So they packed up early, and she was running a fever. And the older
Yeah,
one.
Eli came over and said they're leaving because the baby's sick, and so he's coming back, but he's taking them home.
Yeah, he did.
And
He
so,
came back for the last day, and then he packed everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sickness was a really big issue this year.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't have any potlucks, so it wasn't like because normally that is part
We didn't
of
have any
it,
like
but this
camp
year it
organized
wasn't.
potlucks, but there
No,
was
there
plenty of
was.
times
Oh,
of
yeah.
people making
People
a
were
bunch of
eating
There were
food.
together.
lines forming around.
Yeah,
Yep.
the thing was though, people were sick like 3 days in when nothing had really been shared or anything. It was just, I think people are just
I think it's just adjusting to the elements of being outside in the cold. I mean, you're sleeping in 40-degree weather when you might be used to sleeping
And
in.
it caused people to be really susceptible.
Yeah.
Well,
One
the
little
other
bug.
part of it is some people literally have been isolated for so long. They haven't been around people.
Mhm.
And so I think that was part of the issue. Their immune system just wasn't.
It's not
Your
a-
hair looks really blonde in that right now.
It is. It's very blonde.
We didn't wear masks.
Yeah, people would have a field day with that. No
We didn't
masks,
social distance.
No social distancing.
Not social distancing right now.
I know.
And we got a cold.
And it's on record.
Kenny says, I think the big camp tent should come back.
Yeah.
Big camp tent?
Like where they had the big meeting tent in the
Oh,
center.
yeah.
That's why they built the pavilion, though, so they
Pavilion.
don't have to have that. Because the camp tents don't generally last through the wind and all that kind
Yeah,
of
they
stuff.
kept
So,
coming apart.
yeah.
I remember the one year Tim set it up on the deck for the pavilion, and the first thing that happened was it rained and the whole thing collapsed.
Yeah.
He was so.
And the rain collects and runs between them and all that.
That's probably the
Yeah,
most.
that was. It was
annoying-
one year. He had the deck for the pavilion and he put the tent thing up on top of it. Yeah, I do remember that now.
And I remember he was so annoyed that I've very rarely seen. Tim gets a little annoyed, but I've never seen him get quite that annoyed. He was really
Yeah.
Yeah.
mad at that tent. So,
What I think I mean, if you're going to do a big tent, you need like a big, like, fireworks tent. That,
one
Oh,
of the big
like the
giant,
big-
giant.
yeah, the
Circus
big,
tent.
yeah, circus tent style ones. Yeah.
Well, we've got one that looks like a big circus.
It's not big enough.
Yeah, definitely not big enough. So,
Yeah, every time we set it up, everyone looks at it. Ben has started saying it's just a 3-ring circus. Don't bother.
There was a lot of canvas tents this year.
A lot more than other years.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you why. We were all saying, what happens if we do all have to leave
I
this
know.
fall in some kind of second exodus? We need to have some proper equipment.
we're still working on that.
Well,
Every
I
year.
have good news for you. We came home from Sukkot.
We did.
Mhm.
We didn't have to stay.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we aren't home yet.
No, we are not. We'll have to see.
I think that's our goal for next year is to
Ken-
have one.
Kenny said it helped with families with babies nearby.
Oh, right, because going up to the pavilion is a long way
Mhm.
compared to the. That's true.
Yeah.
Although, if you think about it, most of the real events that were happening at Sukkot were happening at campfires near to tents. The really, I mean, there was a couple things that happened up at the pavilion, but that's really for.
I think the pavilion
Well-
was mostly empty, wasn't it?
Part of the reason for that though is because the generator busted.
Hmm.
And so
Well, generating
the-
it, but they
well,
had
the gen- they
issues
had
with
issues
the wiring.
with the wiring and the generator working.
Yeah.
And so that was part of the issue.
Yeah.
There
Tourist
was some
studies.
stuff.
I didn't get to be there for most of the tourist studies.
Yeah.
That
The
was
snake
important.
presentations at the pavilion.
Oh, that was
important.
excellent. I enjoyed that a lot. I know the girls did.
All of the kids, even the teenagers, liked it.
Well, of course they did.
When they found that big 7-foot black rat snake, I heard Kevin say, "Hey, now we can have a real church service."
Oh boy. Oh, guys.
So,
Yeah.
y'all ready to call it quits?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Anything else to talk about?
An hour and a half
Nothing?
in. I think we're
We
done.
probably could find lots of other things to talk about, but
But we don't have to. Okie dokie. Well, I'm Dustin. This is Cassie.
I'm Ben. This is Lauren.
And this has been the Dustin and Cassie Show with special guests, Ben and Lauren Turner. Again, make sure to go check them out on their channel. And when this is all said and done, I'll link it in the description below.
Sweet.
So, love you all. See you guys. Hope you had a great Sukkot. And we'll probably see you next week.
Awesome.
You gonna say what you say,
Good night.
Cass?
No.
he always says,
Good night. Say good night, Lauren.
"Good night, Lauren."
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, Ben always tells me to say good night, Lauren.